Hello, and welcome to the conversation. Hello, everyone. I am your host, Andrea B. Flintroy. I just want to thank you all so much for coming back with us once and again. Another Wednesday where, I bring you someone who is going to be real, who's going to be relevant, and who's definitely going to be relatable. So if this is your first time joining me on the conversation, I want to let you know that you can also join our conversation community by three ways. Hey, like it, share it, and make a comment. Our community is very strong. I love my conversation community because they always are engaging. They come with good questions, and they know for a fact that one thing about this, even though me and my guests are talking, it's also a conversation between the conversation community. So again, if you want to be a part of the conversation community, like it, share it, and make a comment. Hey, but without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump. Let's get started. Hey, Kim, how you doing, girl? Conversation community already showing love. Hey, yeah. So let's go ahead and get started and talk to our guests. So today we're gonna have Caprice Pittman, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her journey. She's going to tell us about her journey of resilience, how it was that she overcame her different challenges, the barriers, the different things that she went through. So let's go ahead and get started so we can hear more about Caprice. So, Caprice, if you will, just tell the conversation community just a little bit about yourself.
Hello, conversation community. I'm Caprice Pittman. I'm currently living in Hawaii. Absolutely love it here. With my wife. We have a 12-year-old daughter here and our little dog named Bentley. Together, we share five children. Two of the older ones are in New York, and we have two in Colorado. Something interesting about me, or fun facts. Um, I guess since we're here in Hawaii, I would say I've picked up a new love for going to the beach. It's so peaceful. The serenity of it all is just absolutely amazing. Um, Other things I like to do, I like to bowl. I like to sing in the shower. Most people say I probably should sing outside of the shower. I've done my thing, done a thing or two with singing, but right now I like to sing in the shower. I absolutely love music. Love listening to music. I love spending time with my family, both my immediate family here and my family back in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. We're in contact with each other. All right, yes. We're in touch with each other all the time. We talk to each other every day. So family is definitely important to me. Outside of that, I just work, try to meditate every now and again, and just live life.
Yes.
That's me in short.
Well, wonderful. Well, one thing I do want to know, since you're in the beautiful state of Hawaii, like what brought you to Hawaii?
What brought me to Hawaii is when I got out of the Army in 2013, I was traveling back and forth from Georgia to Kuwait. So I did that for 6 years on and off. And just one day out of the blue, I got a phone call that said, "Hey, we have a job for you in Hawaii if you're interested." I took the job here primarily because I was tired of being away from home. I was tired of being away from my wife and my kids. And I think traveling was beating down on me, and I really was tired of that Kuwait heat. So, I just made this took a leap of faith. We jumped and came on here to Hawaii.
Okay. So how long have you been in Hawaii?
It will be 2 years in September for me and 2 years in November for my family.
Okay. Oh wow. Look, you got me all jealous. I want to go to Hawaii. Being so close to the beach, like, okay.
Walking distance.
Walk. Oh. So y'all know she got this walking distance to the beach. So y'all know her background, her scene is just so beautiful. So, oh my goodness. So yeah, I one personally me, I cannot wait. I definitely want to go to Hawaii. That's one of my places that I want to visit, before soon. So if my husband is somewhere in the community listening, Hawaii soon. So yeah, but that's definitely a place that I definitely would like to check out. Just to see the water, the beach, and eat some of the food.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We've definitely tried some of the food, and I love it.
Hmm.
I think since being stationed in Korea, the second time I was stationed there, I got a love for
Uh-oh, we've lost Caprice. Well, she got some love coming her way. Somebody telling her hello, how she doing.
some
But
things
y'all,
have been a no. We got disconnected, I think, a little bit, but
yes, we did. We
some
did get
things
disconnected.
have kind of been a no. But we
Hmm.
try to enjoy as many different types of food as we can.
Uh-oh, can you hear us?
I can hear you now because I think we
Okay.
both blanked out for a minute.
Yeah. But you got some love coming your way.
I see that. That's my friend Maureen. She and I were in college together.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay. Well, so now we're talking about college. So y'all know what I'm about to do, community. Tell us a little bit about your story. So what is it that what tell us something about Caprice, her story. How was it, in your childhood, growing up, let us know about you.
Um, from as far back as I can remember. So that will take me to about 6 or 7. Um, things seem normal at first.
Mm,
I can remember the main thing I can remember that far back is we were living in Philadelphia. I know that we had traveled from Philadelphia, well, from North Carolina,
oh.
where we lived with my great grandmother for a little while, to Philadelphia, and
Hmm.
that was my sister, whom you already met,
Yeah.
and then I had my brother at that time, and like I said, things seemed a little normal. I can remember
Mm,
the main thing I was missing my dad, but
mm, okay.
enjoying my siblings. Like our family is just tight. We are super tight. So
Uh-huh.
my siblings were everything to me. They always had my back.
Oh, I think we lost Caprice again. Okay, so as we're waiting on Caprice to come back, she told us that she was from the DMV area. So that wants me now. I want to know, where is everybody else from? Who is joining in? So let me see you represent your city, represent your state. Tell me where you're from, and hey, so I can know where you are so we can give you a shout out. I see that Caprice has a lot of family that is joining in. I want to say, welcome you guys to the conversation. And if you want to be a part of the community, there's 3 ways to join to be a part of the conversation community. Like it, share it, and make a comment. That's how you be a part of the conversation community. So we're just going to allow Caprice to work out any kind of technical difficulties that she's having. But again, like I said, oh, okay, we got DC in the house. So where are some other places that we're holding from? Okay, Los Angeles, California. Oh, but by way of the DMV. Okay, Maryland in the house, DC. All right now. So yes, and I am in Charlotte, North Carolina, but home from Louisiana. So, hey, I don't know if y'all know much about Louisiana, but one thing about it, I can definitely tell y'all the food is amazing. That is something I can definitely say that I miss being over here in North Carolina, not North Carolina, being on this side. I definitely miss the food. Okay, we got Houston in the house. Oh, hey, Miss Yvonne, how you doing? I see you being a part of the community. Yes. So, like I say, as we're waiting on Caprice to get everything together, working on her technical difficulties, what are some questions? What are some things that the community would like for me to bring? Like, what are some topics that y'all would like to hear more about? What are some challenges that y'all might have had in your own life, in your own circle, or some things that you will also want me to bring, want to talk about, or want to share more about? Because again, you know that I bring guests. I'm going to bring you someone who is going to be real, who's going to be relevant, and who's definitely going to be relatable. So in order to get those things, I have to know what it is that the community wants. What do you want to hear about? What are some challenges or some barriers or some things that you've had in your life that, hey, you might not necessarily know how to find the guidance, but that's one thing that we're here to do on the conversation, is to kind of bring a little awareness, help give some guidance any way that we can, and to kind of help you get to the place of awareness to bring about that healing to happen in that process. So, oh, I think we have Caprice back. So let's add her back in. Hey, she's back, y'all.
Hey, hey, I did not know
Hey.
what happened, but I switched to my phone.
Okay, okay, awesome, awesome. Well, we got a lot of people, that are definitely showing you much love. I want you to see them. You have your sister, she's in the chat, showing you some love. We have DC in the house. We have we
That's my
have
sister.
we have
Okay.
Los Angeles in the house. We got a cousin in the house. So yes, much love for you. Much love, much love, much love. So, but back to your story, Capri. So tell us more about your story. I know you was getting to you said things looked normal for you when
Yep.
y'all was in the DMV area. So tell us more about that.
So we were in Philadelphia at first. Like I
Oh,
said,
okay.
we moved. Circumstances had us move from DC to
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina, and then from there we moved to Philadelphia. Everything seemed normal to me, I guess, being 6, 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the first traumatic event, and I don't know, triggers, I guess I would put that out there. Uh, I don't know what led up to it. All I can remember is my mother on a stretcher.
Whoa.
And n- back then, growing like being that young, you don't really know what's happening. But
Mm-hmm.
something is happening. So
Yeah.
it wasn't until later on, I think later on in life, that I realized that at that time she had, my mom had attempted to take her life. So that was a devastating event. But I guess the resilience part of it was, out of that, I still have my mom, but
Mm-hmm.
my baby sister came about.
Okay.
So we had that traumatic event, but then I ended up with a new sibling who I love with all my heart. That was like my little baby. So
Yeah.
when she came into the picture, I was like, I'm gonna protect this kid, watch over her. I would stand over her and watch her breathe to make sure she was breathing. And then, like I said, it seemed like, okay, everything is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's the four of us now as opposed to the three of us, and things seem to be looking up. School was different because we went to school. Well, I started school in an area where it was predominantly Hispanic. So
Oh,
there was
okay.
the expectation of learning learning Spanish. And I can remember
Hmm.
the teacher seemed to be so mean to me. There was always an issue. She said that I couldn't color inside the lines. So it was these things, you remember
Mm.
stuff like this even into your adulthood. She's like,
Yeah.
you need to learn how to color inside the lines. And it's crazy because I'm particular about things like that now. Attention to detail, color inside the lines, right within the lines, just stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we ended up leaving that area, and we moved into a house. And the events that happened at the house have it to the point where I've never forgotten the address. I'm 44 now, and I lived there. I think we left there when I was about 8 going on 9. But
Uh-huh.
I can remember the address, 4454 North 18th Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I never forgot it.
It's
Mm.
always embedded in my head. I have dreams about it from time to time. But you know, life seemed good. We had great Christmases, I remember.
Mhm.
Everybody seemed to be getting along. I had my siblings. We got a dog. Um, Everything seemed good until the domestic violence started. My mom experienced domestic violence. And
Okay.
I think that's probably where I learned to push forward and press forward. Because
Oh.
I'm the oldest
Mhm.
of so I'm the oldest. So I always felt like I needed to be strong for my siblings no matter what.
Mhm.
Um
Mhm. Mhm.
and I can still vividly hear my mom's yells and her wails, and it just is the pain in her
Mm.
voice from not doing, trying to do the right things but not being, or I would say becoming a victim of somebody else's alcoholism. Um, so,
Okay.
there were times like I remember, like I was telling you before, I remember that my stepfather, he had this knife, and it was a pretty decent sized knife, and he had this knife in a peach knife case. So, like I said, these things are like still vivid in my memory.
Right.
And
Yeah.
when he would overdrink, he would take it out on my mom.
Wow.
So, but I would know even then. Okay, I gotta make sure my siblings are safe, and I gotta
Mhm.
go get this knife because he would leave it in the same place, which was downstairs on a table. I've seen him. I saw him, drag my mom out on the back in the backyard and leave her out there. I saw him. There was a time where he made her go. He dragged her down the steps, and he made her sleep in the car. And these are things you don't forget. But
Yeah.
I still, in the back of my mind, was like, whatever, I want to do what I can do. Even at
Mhm.
8, I want to try to protect her and try to protect my siblings at the same time. The one thing I was going to try to make sure is if he does anything, I don't want him to take my mom out of here. So
Mm.
let me go get this knife. Even though back then I didn't know, but there's other ways, or other things he could have done. But that was prominent for me, and I
Yeah.
would hide it, and he would find it. I guess he kind of finally caught on to where I was hiding it at, and I can remember just wanting to do horrible things to protect my mom.
Yeah.
So um, I would also say at that age, and I really don't know how everybody in that neighborhood, we kind of, as a kid, I went out. I jumped double dutch. I wanted to
Mhm.
box with the boys. I was a lot of a tomboy, so I went out and boxed and jumped rope. So the community was tight. My mom's friends were tight. So there was a lady that I knew went to church a lot, and my mom didn't go, and my stepfather didn't go. But I can remember asking her, um, is it okay if I go to church? If I can go
Mhm.
to church with her. I didn't really know much about it, but I knew enough that I just said I just want to go to church. I want to.
Yeah.
We believed in Santa Claus. We believed in spirits. We believed in God. So it's like I was just like, I just want to go to church. So she let me go,
Okay.
and I found a relationship, or God found me early on in
Mm.
life. I knew because I knew he knew, hey, she's gonna need
It's
this,
gonna need you. Uh-huh.
foundation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
So hold
okay.
on.
Okay.
Not to cut you off, but hold on. So just to back you up a little bit, because just for anybody, for the community that's listening. So I want to bring it, back to the forefront of the age that you were going through all of this.
Okay, yeah. I was about
8 years old.
8 years old. That's my
8 years
earliest
old.
memory. Yep.
So you're 8 years old, having to be the protector of your siblings and also of your mom, because like you said, you didn't know totally what was going on, but you knew something wasn't right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that continued on for a couple of years. It would be good and then it would be bad. And then,
Mm-hmm.
finally, my mom mustered up the strength to leave. And even that
Mm.
was crazy because I remember the day that we were gonna leave, he
Uh-huh.
actually held my baby sister like, you can go with them, but you're not taking her.
Really?
So yeah, I don't know if they remember that, but yeah, he held her and he said, "You can take them, but you're not taking her." And so I told you, my baby sister, like I love all my siblings, but it was something about that baby sister,
Yeah.
and she was still really, really small. So
Uh-huh.
it's like, oh no, what are we gonna do? And that was a ploy. I know now that was a ploy to try to keep her there. But
Mm-hmm.
he ended up, of course, handing her over. And
So how did that make you feel when that happened? Like when he did this, like out of nowhere, y'all are getting ready to walk out the house. Your mom said, let's go. If she told you to grab what you can grab or just forget this stuff, we just gonna go. And the next thing you know, he grabs your baby sister. He's like, now y'all can go out the door, but she ain't going nowhere.
I mean, if little kids can have tempers and get fired up in their minds, that was me.
Mm-hmm.
Fired up like,
Mm.
oh no, it's time to leave this dude. It is
Yeah.
time to go. We got to do something. Call the police. Do something so we can get out
Mm.
of here. I don't want to stay here anymore. I can
Yeah.
remember. I don't want to stay here anymore. It's time for us to go. And like I said, that's all I could feel. I felt a lot of rage towards him, and it didn't
Mm.
die down. I think I say within the last, probably in the last 5 years, is when I let the rage go because I
Wow.
knew that I had to, in order for me to continue to progress, for me to move forward, I had to let it go. But I never forgot it. Never
That's good.
ever. I see
Yeah.
him on Facebook, and time, time after time, I look and I'll say I should say something, but I don't. But
Mm-hmm.
I forgive him because I know from my
Mm.
personal experience that we all go through something,
Yeah.
you know. So I forgive him. I had to.
Yeah.
And then going back, so yeah, that's basically how I felt about that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, somebody got to do something. We're not
Mm-hmm.
going nowhere without my little sister. You need to get her, and we need to go. And
Yeah.
so we ended up, he ended up, like I said, he gave her to my mom, and we went and stayed with one of her friends for the night, and then we were on our way to Massachusetts.
Okay.
My aunt and her husband let us they gave us, it made it so that my mom could bring us out there where they were.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, excuse me for a minute, because
No, you're okay.
yeah,
You're okay.
that one that got us
Yeah.
out of that situation, she just recently passed. So it's
Oh, I'm
still
so
there. Yeah,
sorry.
so but
Oh my.
I thank God for her, and I thank God for my uncle, because they took on, it was just the two of them, and they brought in my mom with 4 kids. And
Mm.
you know, I'm grateful for that. Um, so Massachusetts was different. And
Okay.
we having to get those traumatic events out of our heads, and move
Mm-hmm.
forward, and start new schools and do all that stuff. But it was a different environment, and I'm so grateful that my mom never looked back in that direction.
Okay.
So yeah, that's where it all started. And but I learned then life gets better.
Mm-hmm.
You have to keep pushing. Like, if you want it, you can have it. And
I like that. I like that. Say
yeah,
it again, Capri.
if
Say it
if you,
again.
if you want it, you can have it.
Yeah.
So things didn't pan out all the way while we were in Massachusetts. So all of us ended up leaving, to include my aunt and my uncle.
Uh-huh.
And we ended up back in the DMV. There was a lot more trauma, a lot
Mm-hmm.
more traumatic events. Um, I get more than likely due to all the domestic abuse and things like that. My mom ended up turning to drugs. So
Mm.
she ended up being addicted to drugs and alcohol, and that's where my grandmother comes in. I thank God for her too, because
Yeah.
for nothing else, she was like, she said, no way will my grandchildren end up in the system. So
All right.
she
Yeah.
took us all in. And then there were places we had our own place for a time, and
Mm-hmm.
that didn't work out, and ended up living with my aunt for a short period, and then we all just finally moved in with my grandmother in a 1 bedroom apartment. But she made it work.
Mm. This
She
is,
made it work. And
yeah.
then, I had a lot of responsibility because my grandmother has to work, and
Uh-huh.
somebody has to, care for the siblings.
Now, how old were you at this time? Because if okay, so let me back up. So from your story, as you're telling us about your story from your story, I see that y'all moved around a lot.
Hmm. We sure did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I was when we got back to the DMV, I was in the fourth grade. So
Okay.
we did finish school in Massachusetts, and then at the end of the school year, we all ended up traveling back to the DMV. So
Uh-huh.
I started the fourth grade when we got back there. So
Mhm.
we're like 9 or 10. And
Mm.
at first it was, it was kind of okay. We my both of my grandmothers and my grandfather, they all pulled together, and my aunts, to make sure, we had a place to stay. My mom got a
Mhm.
job. And I mean, she hustled, she made sure she took care of us to the best of her ability. But
Mhm.
eventually the drugs got the best of her. So,
Mhm.
in her absence, my grandparents stepped in. And
Yeah.
and that's both on my father's side and my mother's side.
Mhm.
We ended up living with my maternal grandmother, but my paternal grandmother and my grandfather, they pitched in. They said,
Yeah.
we're going to help take care of them. Those are my son's kids. And even the ones
Mhm.
that's not my son's kids, I'm going to take care of them too.
Yeah.
And
So
so
how
that's
many siblings do you have total?
total. I have six.
Okay. So it was
Siblings.
six of you guys, including your mom. And so it sounds like, no matter what happened. And so we're going from, I think you started at the age of 6. And so we're like at the age of 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like, y'all had a very strong support system.
Yes, we
Mhm.
absolutely did. So, my grandmother taught me, she's like, look, you're gonna have to do certain things. You're
Mhm.
gonna have to so we were living in Maryland. Well, we started off in DC, and we
Okay.
were still living, my mother, my aunt, my uncle, and the four of us. And
Uh-huh.
then of course we ended up moving again. And that's when we got split. Okay, you're gonna go live with this aunt, and then which basically was right across the street from each other. So we lived with my grandmother and lived with my aunt back like right across the street from each other. Then
Okay.
we
So
all
there
just
was a
ended up,
split
yeah.
with you
So we all
guys.
then we all just ended up living with my grandmother.
Okay.
And during that time, my mom was in and out, in and out, in and out. So that's when my grandma was like, okay, well, we were still going to school in DC when we ended up leaving my aunt and uncle's house.
Uh-huh.
So we would have to travel from, I would say, we caught a bus. We caught maybe two buses to school, two or
Mm,
three buses to school. So it's me at like
really?
10 with my three siblings, because the other three live with my dad. So it's me and my three siblings every morning, getting up, getting dressed, traveling from Maryland to DC. And anybody from DC who knows, we lived in Suitland, Maryland, and we went to elementary school in Southeast DC. So we traveled. And
So how old were y'all when y'all was traveling? Because you said you had to catch 2 buses.
yeah, 10, 8, 6, and 4.5, 5. Because we all
That's
were
a
in school.
young age. Like, those are young ages to be going from one bus to the other bus.
But we did it. We did it.
Whoa.
We did it for quite some time, and we had strict instructions. Don't nobody. My grandmother worked at a department store in DC
Uh-huh.
that I know anybody on here that's from DC knows that she worked at Morton's department store. And the instruction was, you guys go straight to school. When you
Mhm.
leave school, you stop by my job. You need to count
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then y'all go home. This is what you need to do when you get home. You make sure that these kids do their homework. This is what I
Uh-huh.
want you to cook. Make sure they take baths. And then by
Mhm.
the time she get home, everything clean, everybody clean, all homework done. And
Yeah.
so I mean, it just what had to be done. So I
Yeah.
did it. We did
Yeah.
it. We did it
Yeah.
all together.
So
Uh,
how would you say that that has impacted you now? Because there was a lot of responsibility that you had, and I think we only got to the age of 10.
Yeah, it made me right now. I would say, looking back, it made me not know how not to be responsible. So accepting help was hard. Um,
Whoa,
yeah.
really?
So that's a definite. Like, in the beginning, I would be down to a penny and nobody would know. I would not ask for help. Um, not being able to provide
Mhm.
would be kind of set me into an anxiety, depression type stage. Um,
Mm.
Instability makes me anxious. Um,
Mm.
if I get in a place, I want to stay in that place. I don't want to jump and move all around everywhere. And even though I was in the military, it was different because it was what I was supposed to do. If the army
Okay.
says you got to go to Korea, then I
Uh-huh.
got to go to Korea. But me
Mhm.
in general, I needed to have a foundation. So if I go to Korea, I need to know I got somewhere to come back to that's home. That's not going anywhere.
Mm.
That's unchangeable.
O
So I would
okay.
say that was those were the major impacts.
Uh-huh.
And I've gone to therapy quite a few times,
Mhm.
and I didn't really think about resilience until well, the army taught us some of that. They say hunt the good stuff, and we had resiliency training and all
What
of
that
that.
mean? Break that
Hunt the
down
good
for
stuff.
us.
Hunt
Yeah.
the good stuff. Basically, it's like, you can go. There'll be obstacles. You might lose your job. Your car may break down. You may not have the money for rent. Um, but no matter what is happening in your life that seems bad or seems negative, find
Mhm.
the positive in it. Find the good stuff.
Mm.
There's always a good to go with that bad.
Yeah.
So basically, find the good stuff. You don't have to focus on the negative aspect of it, what doesn't seem like it's going right.
Yeah.
Focus on the next step. And I
Yeah.
think I've been that pretty much all through my life. I knew I
Okay.
didn't want to. I didn't want to be held back. I didn't
Uh-huh.
want to be stuck. I didn't want to end up like my mom, because
Mhm.
statistically, that's what they said should have happened. I wanted to beat that, and I thank God for my church
Mm.
growing up, because there was a lot of strong women that influenced my life. And it's like,
Really?
you're smart, because I didn't think I was smart for a long time.
Really?
When I promise you, when I started elementary school in the Black community, and this is crazy, when I went to
Okay.
school with everybody else, I felt like I fit in. But when we got transferred and I started going to school in a predominantly Black school, I felt like the outsider. I
Why
got,
is that? Why you
I
think that
don't,
is?
I have no idea. I got teased. I don't know, just about anything. But more specifically because I was smart. And so I
Mm.
denounced being smart in sixth grade. I said, I don't want to be smart anymore.
Wait, okay, so you're very smart. You've been to school. I know I heard you say that you've been to a Hispanic school, you know. But then when you go to a predominantly Black school, you're being teased for being smart.
That's what it felt like. You think you better
Wow.
than everybody. You think you this, you think you that. And I'm like, I've been to several schools, so I've learned several
Mm.
different things and several different methods, but it didn't feel like that. And I can remember I wrote a note when I was in music class,
Mm-hmm.
and I dropped the note. I hadn't expected anybody to see it, but I dropped it. And next thing I know, um, my homeroom teacher, my PE teacher, and my music teacher all came and got me and sat me down in the classroom. And my music teacher said, "I found your note." And it was basically, I said, "I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be smart anymore. I don't want to get teased anymore. I don't want to get bullied anymore. I'm tired of running home from school. I don't want to do this anymore." And so that's where the school support system came in. And they said, "Look, you continue doing what you're doing, and we
Mm-hmm.
got your back. If anybody bothers you, let us know. We can't do anything if we don't know anything about it." So
Yeah.
I know all over the place, but
No, no.
one thing just kind of led to another thing. So
Mm-hmm.
people ask me, why didn't you choose an HBCU?
Really?
Well, that's why.
Because of your
So
experience, because
my
you had a
experience,
negative experience with a predominantly Black school versus being at a PWI, which is a predominantly white institution for anybody that doesn't know, or either in a Hispanic community. Like
right,
you felt more acceptance with others than you did with your own.
correct. And honestly,
Wow.
to be honest, with the exception of a few, I
Uh-huh.
still feel that way.
Really?
With the exception of my close friends, my family, and some people that I've met in the military, I still feel more accepted
Hmm.
outside of, you know. So, I mean, that's just where that is.
Wow. Wow. And you know what? I want to say this, before we continue on. Thank you for sharing your story
You're welcome.
because a lot of people what you went through, what your siblings went through, a lot of people wouldn't share it. A lot of people would have just looked at the outcome, where they are now, and just say, you know what, that's just my past. I want to forget it. I don't want to think about it. I don't even want to share my story about my past because I don't like my past.
Right.
But I thank you for having the courage to share your story, to want to let people know what you went through. And at the same time, you can also they can get through whatever they're going through. And I like how
Absolutely.
you said that even though you said the military taught you, I strongly believe that you already knew it. I think the military just brought it back to your awareness of to find the positives in any
Probably.
situation that you're going through. Because even what you're telling me, your story, telling the community your story, like I said, we started at the age of 6. You guys, I think we only made it to the age of 10 or 12. So y'all, we haven't even made it to middle school yet. But
It's a
we're
story, I'm telling you.
right.
It's like, yeah,
So
we will have to have many segments.
we're gonna we're gonna have many segments. But so we're right here in just that short amount of time. You learned you got hit with so much. You saw so much, but at the same time, you knew that you had to be strong. You had to be a protector. You had to cover over your siblings because you didn't want anything to happen to them. But at the same time, you made sure that you got what you had to get at the same time, also.
Yes.
Mm. Again, that thank you for sharing
Oh, you're welcome.
because I strongly believe that somebody is hearing your story and is close to theirs, similar to theirs, and they're getting a breakthrough.
I sure
Because
hope so. I definitely hope so.
yes,
Because
like I
I told you when we had our initial conversation, I don't know about this.
yeah, you did. You definitely did. You did. But I knew. listening to your story that somebody needed to hear it. Somebody needs to hear it for their own healing. Like I said, for their own breakthrough. So they can start breaking strongholds that they have in their life. Like you talked about earlier about forgiveness. And you said you had to forgive him. And you said not for him, but for yourself.
Absolutely.
Because there's a sense of peace that comes with that forgiveness. An inner peace.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. Yeah, there's no need of walking around holding a grudge over something that happened years ago, because it only forces you to look backwards. Who wants to
Mm-hmm.
walk backwards? Who wants to walk in reverse? So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like, the only way to move forward is to forgive and say, you know
Yeah.
what? You weren't here. I forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
You did this. I forgive you. You know, and it's made me a better person. You know, people see me sometimes, like even like at work, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, why?" Like a lot of times, people say I look mean, but when I am smiling, and people know, "Hey, you're going through a lot of stuff. How can you still smile?" Because I know
Mm-hmm.
it's raining now, but the sun gonna come out eventually,
Yeah.
and that's just how I live life. You know, it could feel like a weight is on my shoulders, but I still push. You just gotta keep pushing, and eventually the outcome you want to see is the outcome that you'll manifest.
Ooh, say it again, Caprice. That was a mic drop. Say it again, Caprice.
I say eventually the outcome that you want to see, if you press forward, you'll
Mhm.
eventually manifest it. But we can't
Mm.
forget that if we always looking backwards and we always thinking negative, that will manifest that. So you got to decide which way you're gonna go.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-oh now. Y'all heard Caprice. You gotta decide which way you're going. Are you gonna go forward? You gonna press forward? Or you gonna keep looking in the back? Keep looking in the rear view mirror. That's good. That's good. So I want you to tell us a little bit. How did your, because I know you were saying that now you like to have a foundation. You don't like all the moving, even though you got into a career that has a lot of moving, but you still have to have that stability.
Right.
So tell us more about how that impacted you with with moving around, and then your mother being a survivor of domestic violence. How did that impact you today?
Um, hmm. I think I think it had the opposite effect that it should have had. You
Oh.
know, people like, okay, well, I moved a lot when I was growing up, or we were unstable, and you know, things happened, and we jumped and we ran, but it did the opposite for me. So instead of me being a runner, and instead of me hopping from place to place,
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, we're gonna stay here and we're gonna figure this thing out.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it had the opposite impact for me. So I would prefer to stay and work it out. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that has proven to be a bad thing, but for the most part, it's been good. You know, even my wife said, you know, you taught me. Sometimes you do have to just stay, face that thing, and work it out.
Mm.
And
I
so
like that.
yeah, so that's mostly what I try to do. You know, um, when it came to going to Kuwait, for instance, when I got out the army,
Mm-hmm.
it was nothing for me to go because I knew that my family was stable. So I'm leaving, but
Uh-huh.
there's a house and a home for them.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I look at things like that. Um, but I still have a fear of moving. We talking about moving right now, and you know,
Really?
my family is my support system, but
Uh-huh.
it's time to get back to family. So I'm stressed out right now, but people wouldn't know it. People wouldn't know it
Mm.
unless they're like really close to me. It's like I can see it. I know something going on, but
Yeah.
I don't let that show. I try not to let it affect my everyday life because there's a job to do. You know, I go to work. I got a mission. and I can't
Mm-hmm.
let anything outside of that mission. I can't let anything cloud my judgment or stop me from, even when I'm going through. I find
Mm-hmm.
that at work, and I don't even work in counseling. I don't do anything in the field, even though I have a master's degree. But it's,
I was just about to ask you that, Caprice. Because I really wanted the people to know, but Caprice and I already told y'all now. But I, I really wanted Caprice to tell y'all a little bit more about what some of the things that she accomplished, even though those were some obstacles or some challenges that she had as she was growing up. But I definitely wanted her to let y'all know what are some things that she accomplished along the way. But go ahead, Caprice. This is your flow. Go ahead.
oh,
I'm gonna
well,
stop.
I was just saying, I it was hard for me to see my accomplishments in the beginning. And where the song
Mm.
says, encourage yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta pat your own self on the back. I
Mhm.
failed to do that for so many years. And then I look over my life and I'm like, you have done well. You may not be like X or Y, but you made it through.
Mhm.
You've done things that people wouldn't have expected you to do.
Mhm.
I graduated from college. And although I didn't get into graduate school right away, I kind of found my place in the school system, but I was afraid. So I left. And crazy enough, I left the school system to join the army. Lots of people like, why would you do that? It's
Yeah.
always something I wanted to do. I literally woke up one morning and said, I'm joining the army today. And I did.
Wow.
And definitely that taught me a lot. And mostly it helped me regain my confidence. And there was some trying situations in the army, but I'm still here. I'm still pushing.
Mhm.
I'm trying to, teach my kids, there's more to life. You can do anything at any time, at any age. It doesn't matter. I'm working
Mhm.
on a graduate certificate right now at 44 in human resource management, just because, hey, this is something I'm interested in. I want to do it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I have a master's degree in psychology, and although I have never been in the field of psychology, I've never worked in the field. I've always been a counselor.
Mm.
Somebody's always walking up to me and just start talking and telling me their story.
Mhm.
So I've learned to be a listener. Um, all those years of everything that I've gone through gave me the experience I would need to be there for others, even when I'm going through myself.
Wow.
So I think that's the biggest thing that I got out of everything.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. And again, just thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for being courageous. Thank you for being strong. Thank you for your resilience.
You're welcome.
Because because of your resilience, I can be resilient. Your sisters can be resilient. Your brothers, your daughter, your wife, like your neighbor. Other people can be resilient because of your resilience and because you're willing to tell your story to help somebody else along their journey. And so, like I said again, just thank you for just even sharing it because, like you said, you went through a lot, but it taught you a lot. I believe the support system that you had definitely played a major impact.
Absolutely.
And it definitely kind of just showed you, it allowed you to keep moving because you had that support system at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, my grandmama told me, she said, listen, you're the oldest. These kids gonna follow you. So you need to figure out your path. And
Mm.
so, hey, even though there was some bumps and bruises, I figured it out.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, you know what? You're definitely showing, and we can see that you definitely figured it out. And so when you say your journey of resilience, you was not playing. Definitely, this is your journey of resilience, and showing us how you overcome so much, how you pressed through, how you kept moving. So definitely, like I just say, again, thank you so much for just sharing. But is there anything, what else would you like to give the community to encourage them more, to help them to keep moving and keep pressing forward?
Mm, I think I would say I, the biggest thing I think is you are what you imagine yourself to be. So if you, it's all about choices.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't choose to be anybody's victim. I didn't choose what could have come easiest to me. I chose to do the opposite. And so, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you may hear the voices, or it may seem like, oh my God, nothing in life is going right for me. But you gotta push through that. And you just tell yourself, this is just another trial. I can get
Yeah.
over this just like I got over the last one and the last one before that. Because their trials and tribulations will come. What are you gonna do about it? How are you gonna push yourself through it? You just gotta do it. At the end of the day, you just have to do it.
Mm-hmm. What are some things that you implemented to help you to keep pushing forward, to help you to just, do it, be determined? What are some things that helped you through?
Prayer, definitely prayer. My grandmother instilled that in all of us. I mean, although I had it a little bit at the earlier stages, we lived with my grandmother. My grandmother was in church all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So even now, she'll say, you keep praying. You keep praying. You're going to be all right. I know you're going to be all right. You just keep praying. So that's what I
Yeah.
do. I just keep praying. I say, Lord, ooh, it's cloudy out here. The storm seems a little strong, but I'm going to need you to help me through it. And after I say my prayer, I put in the work.
Mm. Mm.
Can't pray and don't do anything. You gotta put the work in.
That is so true. That is so true. I'm glad you said that, because sometimes we will pray and then we'll sit back and say, Lord, I need you to move. And then we'll sit back and like, okay, I'm
Yeah,
watching, I'm waiting on you to move. Well, you got to move, Lord. But then,
right.
but you got to take action. You still have to move.
That's what it said. Faith without works is dead.
That's
So
exactly
you
it.
can sit and pray all day long, but if you're not willing to do anything and move at least one foot,
At least 1 foot.
just move one, and the other one will follow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you're right, because like he said, he will never leave you nor forsake you. So, but you got to put in that work. You have to make that movement. You got to press forward. And like you said, just keep moving forward. Just keep pushing.
Yes, absolutely.
Because we know
Don't ever
also.
give up. Don't ever give up. Don't put time limits on things. Um,
Mm,
when it's meant for you to accomplish, you accomplish, and don't give yourself a limit. Don't say, oh, well, I'm 50, I can't do this anymore. Yes, you can, if you
mm,
want to.
yeah. So it's all about that desire. Whatever desire they have, that's what's going to happen. And like you said earlier, whatever you believe, that's what's going to manifest. But you
Yep.
got to believe it first.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Caprice, you done blessed our soul tonight. You done blessed the conversation on tonight. So how do you, woo! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Y'all, if y'all enjoyed Caprice, let me see y'all show her some love in the chats. Show her some love in the community, conversation community. Again, I thank y'all for coming each and every Wednesday. If you are new to the conversation, you can be a part of the community by 3 ways: like it, share it, or make a comment. It's very easy. But I know you say it sounds like, at church when it say you can come by letter of candidate baptism. Hey, you can come. We accept you just as you are. We just want you to come. But yes, again, join us. We're here every Wednesday. I'm bringing you someone who is going to share their story, who is going to be transparent, who is going to be honest. But the thing about it is, Their story is being shared so it can help somebody else. Because the one thing about sharing our stories, and I know that y'all are very familiar with testimonies, is their testimony. They're sharing their testimony to help somebody else to get through what they're going through. Because a lot of times we will suffer in silence. We will suffer in silence because we want people to see the exterior. We want people to see what's on the outside. We want them to think that everything looks good, that everything is going good, but then it's all hell breaking loose on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with the words that Caprice even said, pray, but you still got to keep moving. You got to believe, and then those things are going to come to pass. And also, the word of God tells us to cast our cares upon Him, because He loves us. He gives strength to the weary. But at the same time, you have to do the work. We can't just sit back on a hill and not do the work. So again, I thank you all for joining the conversation, being a part of the community. Caprice, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. And get our condolences, my condolences to your family.
Thank you.
Yes. And just hearing you talk about her, we know that she was an amazing woman.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like I say, you got love. Let me show you the love that you are receiving from Jasmine. She said she loves you. Hope, she said you rock. We have Maureen. She's telling you that you did such an awesome job, that you are so brave. And again, she's proud of you. Antonio is just showing some love. You spoke the truth. So he's showing you some love. And again, that is one thing that we know that Caprice did on tonight. She spoke her truth. She was very transparent. And her word, I pray that her word impacts somebody to help them along their journey. So again, y'all, oh, you know what? If y'all would like to follow Caprice, you can connect with her on Facebook. Her handle, is Caprice Pittman on Facebook. Y'all look her up, show her some love, DM her if y'all have any questions that that you might want to ask her, or just showing her some love, or hey, maybe you might have a similar story, or maybe you know someone that has this story and you don't know how you can support them, what would be the best ways to support them, or how can you show up for them. You might want to connect with Caprice so she can tell you, maybe she can give you some insights of what to do, what she would say to do, because she has been in that similar situation. So again, y'all can connect with Caprice on Facebook. I'm pretty sure she would definitely love to hear from y'all.
Absolutely.
Caprice, before we get
Yes.
ready to go, what is it that you would like to share with the community? If anything.
I would say, leaving out, always be the best version of you.
Mm,
That's
I like
what
that.
that is what I would leave there, put there. Always be the best version of you. No matter what
Mm,
it takes, be the best version of you. Don't let anybody tell you anything, it'll put you down. Be the best version of you.
yes. And I agree with that. I second that. Definitely, like she said, be the best version of yourself. And like she said again, continue to keep pushing, press forward, keep believing. If you want something to come to pass, you got to believe it. You got to stand on it. So again, thank y'all for showing up. I'll see y'all again next Wednesday. I love y'all, conversation community. And remember, show the world who you are, and don't let the world tell you who you are. Because one thing
Absolutely.
about it is, you show people how to treat you, and people are going to treat you by the way that you treat yourself. So you show them how you want to be treated. So show the world who you are, and don't let the world tell you who you are. See y'all next Wednesday. Y'all have a great week.